Hey YouTube, Stove Mods here again, and this time a little bit more successful than last time. Maybe some of you have seen my last video with the alcohol stove fail that concerned this stove here. This concept is very simple and usually called a cat food can stove because most people do it out of cat food cans. But anyway, this was a complete failure. It didn't work. And a guy commented in the comment section of the video. His name's Jack's Outdoorsman. I hope I'm saying that the right way. But anyway, he was quite helpful because he said, look, probably the volume of the can is too big to get enough pressure to get the jets come out of the holes from the vapor of the alcohol. And I followed his advice, and it was still a little bit of fiddling. I'd love to have smaller holes than those, but it just doesn't work that way. But after having enough and big enough holes, that stove started to work. Unfortunately, the footage is not that great because I shot in daylight, and of course alcohol flames are not that bright, so you can't see a lot. But I'm holding a paper there to just show you that there's some fire and it burned for a while. So that's what my channel is about, like the details that make a difference. And in this case, thanks again, Jack's Outdoorsman, to your advice, because it was just the volume of the can seemed to be too big, and with the small can I could maintain more pressure and it kind of worked. Also, I didn't have a windscreen, so I couldn't really do a great boiling test, but I was able to see that it worked somehow. So the pros of this concept is it is very, very simple. Still, I'm more of a guy for wood stoves, but I thought I have to do an alcohol stove at one point. But what I don't like that much about it, first, you need a windscreen. Without it, it's gonna be tough boiling water. And secondly, I showed that in the last video, if you flip it, you set everything on fire because it's just filled with burning liquid. So just keep that in mind. Apart from that, I'm planning to make one day, probably not next time, but I'm planning to make another alcohol stove, what they call a penny stove. But I'm still not quite clear about some specifications because, and please comment if you have some thoughts about this, I don't see why the penny is required in the middle of the stove, because what you obviously want to have is holes where the alcohol can come out, or the vapor at least, and ignite and have some fire. And usually with the penny stove, the holes, tiny holes, are at the ridge, and in the middle are those just to fill in the alcohol, but I don't see why they wouldn't help feeding the fire. So anyway, thanks again to the guy in my comment section. You can go to the fail video and look for his comments if you want. And after all, he made this work. So I hope you enjoyed. As I said, sometimes it's the little differences. That was just a matter of size, and in this case, the smaller the better. Not always, but this time. I hope you enjoyed, and I think about what projects I have next time for you. I'll see. Anyway, I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.